When you're selling on Amazon FBA, there's essentially 3 steps that you need to make sure that you do to sell products well. The first step, obviously, is buying the products, and during that buying process, you need to research to make sure that you're finding products that are actually profitable. Second step, after you buy the products, is to ship them into Amazon, and to do that shipment, it takes a little bit of work. Also, I know my hair is crazy, but is my hair awesome? More yes than crazy, so we're gonna leave it. And then after you ship it into Amazon, you need to, I was gonna say post-produce, because that's the way that I think about my YouTube videos. I think about filming, editing, post-producing. Not post-producing, but managing your inventory to make sure that it actually sells. And the main way that you do that is through repricing. First off, inventory, you change the price on whatever your item is to make sure that it's in line with the competition. Now, you could do this manually, where you go into your prices and change them one by one, but there are so many repricers out there, which are softwares that do that automatically for you and do it probably better than you. I didn't get my first repricer until maybe my second month into selling on Amazon, after I had about 50 listings, and at that point, my sales started to explode a little bit. So today, I wanna go over Bqool, which is the repricer that I now use. I have a whole playlist of videos of me switching over to Bqool and why I did that. But just recently, I think it was 2 months ago, they added a new feature. That feature actually rolled out, and I haven't signed into Bqool in probably about 3 months. We're actually gonna head into Bqool, and I'll show you how I use Bqool to make sure that I'm getting the best price possible and selling the most units possible. Because sometimes you have to find the balance of either you just sell for a super low price, but you sell a lot of volume, or you sell for a super high price and have to wait, so you're not selling as much. Using a software like Bqool, which is my recommended repricer, and I do have links for it down in the description, it's an upgraded 30-day free trial to their $100 per month plan if you wanted to check it out, and then if you signed up, you'd obviously support the channel. But they also added a new feature called conditional repricing, which I really want to break down with you today, because I'm going to be changing all my listings over to conditional repricing models. Oh wow, this is new. Holy cow, I have not looked at this in so long. At least this looks relatively familiar. This first page that it has you sign in on is just the dashboard. We can see that up here. And then you have a listings tab, repricing rules, price history, reports, and upload file. I almost never go to reports and upload file, or price history, honestly. I just go through repricing rules, listings, and the dashboard to see my overall sales. On this dashboard, you can see the AI sales, so essentially what they have repriced that has led to sales, how many AI orders they have, AI buy box percentage wins. We can see what our best selling units are and best buy box wins. And then down here, we could see a bunch of listing overviews. So repricing paused, AI powered listings, only seller, competition below minimum. I talked about most of that in that other Bqool video. So if you want to check that out, I would go there, because really in this video, we're going to focus on the new conditional repricing. So going over into repricing rules, this is what we need to look at. So right now we have all of these normal AI rules, which is what they've had for their plans for a while. They'll essentially watch the buy box, see how prices are moving so that they can try to get you a better price while also selling you more units. But you can kind of dictate to it what level you want to sell in terms of volume or profit. Profit maximizer is going to take the most time to sell your items but get you the most profit. And the most time is obviously dependent on what type of items you have. If there's so much volume on them anyways, it's still going to sell fast. And even if you do sales maximizer, where you're trying to do more volume than just wait on higher prices, if you have slow volume items, it's still going to move pretty slowly. But these are all the old rules that they had. Now there are new rules that will make changes for you that honestly, if I would have done these a couple months ago, probably my sales would have been better. So let's add a new rule down here, and we can see what their new conditional repricing is all about. The way that we can take a look at that is up here. We have AI powered listings, rules-based listings, and conditional repricing. I probably just recommend conditional repricing, and we'll see why. We have a bunch of rule types instead of just rules now. And let me break down real quick what conditional repricing even is so that we can understand that as we talk about this. Essentially, if certain conditions are met, it will change either your minimum price on whatever you're trying to get for your listing, but it also can change whichever rule you're using, which is essentially the AI rules. Let me explain by taking a look at it. We see inventory age conditions here. If we click on this, we'll see that it'll automatically switch repricing strategies based on inventory age and other conditions. This is really cool, because if you have inventory that's been at Amazon for 30 days versus inventory that's been at Amazon for 180 days, you probably have a different expectation for the price that you're going to be able to get. If it's been at Amazon for 30 days, maybe someone just came on the listing and lowered the price, but it's going to go back up pretty soon, and you could see that in the Keep It chart. But if it's been there for 180 days and you've just been sitting on it for 6 months, you might want to drop your price or move to a more aggressive pricing rule so that you just get it out of your inventory so you don't get any long-term storage fees, which you can get if your inventory is at Amazon more than 270 days or 9 months. But you don't only have to do it based on inventory age, you can also do it through the sell-through rate calculation. So it'll switch your pricing strategies based on your sell-through rate. Then you have days of supply conditions, where they can automatically switch it based on how many days of supply you have left. And if you've never seen this before, if you go onto any listing on Amazon and you click into this little SKU right here, down at inventory, you'll see days of supply. This says I have 184 days of supply. That's Amazon estimating how long it'll take me to sell out of my inventory. I don't necessarily see this as the most reliable, but you can reprice based off of days of supply. I just personally wouldn't. You do have advanced conditions, where you just put in whatever you want, and there are a bunch of different conditions that you can add in here, and FBM advanced conditions, which I wouldn't do because I don't do any FBM. So what I'm going to do is set an inventory age condition repricing rule. So we'll go here, and just click on the next page. And this is where you're going to get all the conditions that you can add and change based on whatever you want. So on this conditions page, we'll see a bunch of stuff. And this is all, like I said, based on inventory age. They actually asked me in a meeting that I had with Bqool as they were developing this, which one I thought I would use the most, and it was the inventory age one. So they put that at the very beginning, which is pretty cool. What we can see here is when your inventory is more than 365 days old, or between 271 and 365, all the way down to 0 and 30 days, you can adjust your rule and your minimum price, just your rule, or just your minimum price. When you're looking at your rule, you use all of your other rules that you already have made, whether you have made a rule-based rule or an AI-powered rule. I only use AI-powered rules, honestly, but you can adjust it to whichever of these rules you want. And to be honest with you, very simply, between 0 and 30 days, my rule is going to be, honestly, what they have here. This is what I talk to them about, so I guess it's just already set up this way. But if my inventory has been at Amazon between 0 and 30 days, I'm going to say AI Profit Maximizer, meaning that it's going to be less aggressive in how it reprices my inventory, because I want to try to get higher prices, and if the volume is high or there's not a lot of competition, it'll still sell very fast, but my repricer is going to be basing its calculations and its movements on the profit that I can make rather than just the volume, trying to get it out of my inventory fast. So it starts between 0 and 30 days at Profit Maximizer, then between 31 and 60 days, because there's still no long-term storage fees, and it's probably not the end of the world, it's Profit Booster. And then between 61 and 90 days, it goes down to AI Equalizer, where it's essentially going to be weighing equally profit and volume to try to get you a high price, but also sell it pretty fast. And then between 91 and 180 days, since that's a 90-day period, I'm honestly just going to go to Sales Maximizer. I'm not super worried about Sales Booster. If my inventory's been there more than 3 months, I want money back in my pocket, even if I'm not making a lot. And honestly, anything 270 days and above, you should never even have in your inventory because you're getting charged long-term storage fees, unless you have a really good reason to think that it's gonna go back up in price, but I would honestly just liquidate that inventory and get rid of it. On top of this though, too, what we can do is instead of just doing it based on the rule, Profit Maximizer, you can do it by rule and minimum price. Honestly, for 0 to 30 days, I'm not gonna do that too much because I already have my default rules when inventory gets to Amazon set to being that I have a list price, which is whatever I think I'm going to be getting for the item, and I will drop my price down 10% from that to allow it room to reprice my minimum price. And that's just automatically set up in Bqool. Here, I'll show you. In the listings tab, active listings, right over here in settings general, I have assigned to new listings downloaded from Amazon. Oh, it's actually 7%. Your price plus shipping minus 7% is my minimum price. So if I send something in and it's $10 that I think I'm going to be getting for it, the list price is going to be $10, but the minimum price that Bqool is going to be able to reprice it to is $9.30. The maximum price, I put my price plus 10% because I don't want my maximum price to go crazy. And that way, I don't really have to come in here every time and set a minimum price. It's automatically set for me, meaning repricing is gonna start, which is an important thing to do. But going back over here, because of that, I'm not gonna do anything from 0 to 30 days. Between 31 and 60 days, since it's been a little bit longer and I'm moving it to Profit Booster, I am going to adjust my rule plus minimum price to reset my minimum price by an ROI to an ROI of 30%, because I'm always sourcing inventory and trying to get at least 40% for it. So dropping that down to 30% still makes me money, and it might be that all the prices are just a couple cents below mine, and this will automatically change my minimum price down to 30% return on investment. And it gets those costs from Inventory Lab, but you would have to put in your cost yourself if you don't have Inventory Lab, but it's pretty easy to set up. But that way, if it's between 31 and 60 days that the inventory has been there, it'll drop my price because I don't want to have to hold on to that inventory forever. I would much rather have the money back in my pocket, and I am still making 30% on that, which is not bad at all. Then between 61 and 90 days, I'm also going to change my rule and minimum price, so it's going to go down to AI Equalizer, and also you can reset your minimum price to return on investment, to estimated profit or estimated profit margin. I just don't use these figures very much. I do it more based on return on investment. And so down here between 61 and 90 days, I'm gonna drop it down to an ROI of 10%. And then here between 91 and 180 days, I'm changing that to rule plus minimum price of 0%. And then if it's been over 180 days, I'm gonna drop it down to a minus 10% ROI because I just wanna make sure that I'm getting rid of that inventory, even if I'm losing money on it, because I'm still gonna be getting money back at a minus 10% ROI. That just means that if I spent $5 on it, I'm getting back $4.50 after Amazon takes their fees. So I'm losing 50 cents, but I'm still getting money back in my pocket. On top of all this, if you wanna go even more in depth, honestly, this is probably where I'm gonna stop because I'm pretty sure this will do more than what I needed to. But you could add additional conditions, and there are a ton of them. Is what you'd be doing if you just went to the normal repricing rules and did FBA advanced conditions. You can set your own conditions, and you can have multiple of these different rules in case you have different types of inventory that you like to reprice in different ways. You can have multiple different conditional repricing rules, essentially in unlimited amount. So here, you can add additional conditions. And so you say if it's between 31 and 60 days and the unit has sold within the last 30 days greater than 1, then you'll change the price as well as the repricing strategy to accommodate that. honestly, this is just too much complexity for what I need. But if there's a very specific case where like, hey, if this starts to sell again, then I want to change my repricing strategy, you'd be able to do that. Personally, I don't think you need to do that, but these are all the different conditions that you could add. Units sold, the unit sold percentage, so percentage of your inventory is sold, the number of sales, the sales percentage, the available quantity, the number of buy box wins, if the listing is at the minimum price or maximum price or lowest priced, or the listing did not win the buy box. If you have an inbound quantity, the specific storage type. So you can even have this one rule and just add a condition that if the storage type is like oversized and for some reason you want to reprice differently for oversized, you can adjust that as well. You have estimated excess, estimated long-term storage fee, and estimated long-term storage units. I would add the long-term storage fee ones, but I'm already having my repricer essentially get me down to break even between 91 and 180 days. So if anything is there longer than that, it really shouldn't be. But this way, I'm getting money back in my pocket a lot faster, and I'm sure this will help because my sales have not reflected how much inventory I've sent in, and I think a lot of that is because I haven't been using this repricer very much. And I really, really, really appreciate, just before I say this, that Bqool actually asked me about this before they got started because they didn't have that minimum price thing in there, and that is the biggest thing that I had to go in and do manually over and over and over again was changing my minimum price, and I do it based on a return on investment. So just the fact that they like listened and added that in, that I can automatically change that, I essentially don't have to reprice at all. I would only ever have to change my repricing strategy, and if I did do that, I can just set one rule right here, this conditional based repricing rule, which will change my repricing rule specifically for the unit as well as the minimum price. So that is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this right here. And essentially it's just the overview. Hit save and finish. And now you're not quite done because you've made that rule. But now we have to go over to my listings page, active listings. So I can see all the 198 listings that I have here. I'm just gonna select them all. Bulk actions, set minimum, maximum price, and rule. I'm not gonna touch the minimum, maximum prices or anything. Selected listings. I'm just gonna set the rule to conditional repricing, inventory age conditions, hit save. Now it's gonna take a minute because it's like 200 different things, but now this is going to be able to change everything that we just put in there just based on this condition. The one thing that I would recommend that I noticed today is I sold a unit for $5. That's a $20 item that I bought for $5, and that's because I put the cost in where the list price should have been and the list price where the cost should have been. And if you do that, then you might have some problems. Otherwise, this will make your life so easy. Just make sure that you're putting your costs and your list price in correctly. So if you've been struggling with sales on Amazon, especially with pricing, or maybe you're just struggling to keep up with how often you have to reprice, I would highly recommend getting Bqool as your repricer, and you can do that with the 30-day free trial, like I said, down in the description. I'll link the other video that I did on Bqool just before this came out, which has a more robust overview of what Bqool does, as well as my playlist of switching to Bqool if you're just interested in general repricing information. That way you can have everything that you need in order to feel like you made an educated decision. But I hope this video helped you, especially if you have Bqool and you haven't touched conditional repricing yet. It can save you so much time, and I'm so happy that this is a thing that's happened. I should have done this 2 months ago. See you there.